Paige versus Caitlin, and it takes the entire team to win a basketball game, and both of us are going to do everything we can. But I think the coolest thing about Paige is how resilient she is. Obviously, she's kind of been dealt a tough hand. And
I know Caitlin, of course. We go way back, Midwestern. We had a lot of battles in AAU and stuff like that. We played together on Team USA. I think she's just a competitor. She wants to win. She has just intangibles of the game. She knows how to play, great IQ.
It's understood, too, as well. NaLyssa Smith claimed that the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark was holding her back. Where was she? She was MIA, basically. Not visible as some offensive juggernaut. And just as suspected, Enrique is still the star of this team. Regardless of any Paige Bueckers, DeJane Carrington, NaLyssa Smith, it's still Enrique's show, plain and simple.
But I think the biggest thing about her is she competes, and she's just a winner. She wants to win at all costs. And so I know going into that, it'll be a great matchup. But I'm excited. It's great for the game, and to be at this level, on this high of stakes, to see where we were in AAU competing against each other, it's just really cool to see.
That girl only has positive things to say about her teammates. And
so let's just get to the box score before getting to the attendance. By the way, what Ion Network was trying to do last night, the broadcasters said at least twice that the game was sold out, and that was not true. All right, that was not true. The game was roughly almost 800 tickets shy of being sold out for Paige Bueckers' debut at the College Park Center.
The way she carries herself on and off the court, the way she works hard, and none of that has changed, since I've known her since she was in middle school. She's always worked that same way. She's always had that fire. She's always been a great leader, and I really honestly couldn't be happier for her in the year that she's had, and the way she's led this team back to the Final Four when they've kind of been dealt a tough hand as a program, and they never made excuses. And to me, I think that's something you just really admire as a competitor more than anything. So I think it's really cool.
Now, everyone keeps talking about moving needles. This is NaLyssa Smith, by the way. 18 minutes, 4 rebounds, 6 points. Go sit down. Go sit down. We do not need to hear any she's knit talk from NaLyssa Smith going forward. Stop that nonsense. By the way, what did Collier end up? 34 points. Whoa. That young lady can play ball. 34 points. So this ended up being a 15-point win by the Lins. Dallas kept it closed for a while. They did, but then it got ugly as suspected.
Seriously, Black and White Sports is to call out the media when they pull some bullshittery such as this, some effery. Normally I would just come out and say it. I'm trying to clean up the language a little bit. But nonetheless, when they pull the crap like they pulled last night during Paige Bueckers' brave, stunning, and courageous debut, which was a big old non-starter.
So, Ion Network heard saying a sold-out crowd here at College Park. Except it wasn't sold out. Tickets were supposedly selling out fast for Dallas for Paige Bueckers. According to ESPN, her first home game was nearly 1,000 tickets away from being sold out in an arena that seats just 7,000. There were people out there believe this game should have been moved to American Airlines Arena where the Mavericks play. Can you imagine how embarrassing that would have looked on television? Whoa! It would have been ugly. It would have... Oh, Kathy Engelberg's not gonna like this. No one wants any negativity. Well, hold on. Let's not get confused. Truth-telling sometimes is not gonna be pleasant.
Man, there was a lot of fraudulent activity going on last night, was there not, during the Dallas-Wayne game? It's my understanding, too, as well. NaLyssa Smith claimed that the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark was holding her back. Where were you? You were MIA, basically. I didn't see you as some offensive juggernaut, and just as I suspected, Enrique is still the star of this team.
That's a fact. Right here. 6,251 fans in attendance. That's a good crowd. It's almost sold out, but right here, Dallas Wings play their home games at the College Park Center, which has a capacity of 7,000 when configured for sporting events, athletic events. This includes both the team's men's and women's basketball and volleyball teams. There it is. The capacity drops to 6,750 for concerts. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. That's not what was heard that this was gonna Paige was about to pack him in. Okay, right there is Casey from behind the line. That's legit bonkers for a season opener. Seriously, they'll keep trying to sell everyone on this crap league. Why they keep putting out BS? BS is just that. Speaking of BS, how about the fact of calling out Yahoo Sports over the coverage of Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers?
Regardless of any Paige Bueckers, Dejanay Carrington, Nalissa Smith, it's still Enrique's show, plain and simple. So, I mean, let's just get to the box score before we get to the attendance.
By the way, it should be noted, Paige Bueckers be checking some of them boxes out. Oh, she checks this box. We can welcome her in. She checks this box. We can welcome her in. Unfortunately for Cece, she didn't check some said boxes. So guess what? The media not gonna play fair. Not gonna play fair. When Yahoo Sports posted the laudatory message on social media following Bueckers' WNBA debut in which she scored 10 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, 1 block shot, while shooting 30% from the field.
By the way, I don't know what Ion Network was trying to do last night. The broadcasters said at least twice that the game was sold out. And that was not true. All right? That was not true. The game was roughly almost 800 tickets shy of being sold out for Paige Bueckers' debut.
Look, it's not a terrible game, but calling out hypocrisy too. In a 990-84 loss to the Lynx, Clark fans couldn't help but point out the hypocrisy considering what the outlet posted after Caitlin Clark's WNBA debut last year. So that would be right here. That got called out real fast. Oh, y'all gone soft now. Up and down WNBA debut for Caitlin Clark. She scored 20 points. Seriously scored 20 points. Despite the loss, Paige Bueckers shined in her WNBA debut. Oh, to quote Indiana Jones, son of a... Yeah, really? That's what is happening? Wow. Seriously. God, it's confusing with their caption. She went 3 for 10 as well.
At the College Park Center. Now, y'all keep talking about moving needles. This is Nalissa Smith, by the way. 18 minutes, 4 rebounds, 6 points. Go sit down. Go sit down. We do not need to hear any talk, shiznit talk from Nalissa Smith going forward. I mean, stop that nonsense. By the way, what did Collier end up? 34 points.
Yeah, this guy points out a very good fact. Caitlin Clark was getting double teamed all the way down the court while Paige stands in a corner and has wide open shots. Really? It's ridiculous. Cece had the most expectations of all rookies. Unbelievable. Really? Really? Be honest. Was Paige guarded in her debut in the same way Cece was? There was nothing the same way as Cece was. You see how all this works? It's unbelievable. Here again, the WNBA season has kicked off again. The media already pulling their crap. What iNetwork was doing? Not going nuts. Now understand that occasionally you will sell tickets and people won't show up for a game for whatever reason. Sometimes too big a deal about that because talking a few people.
Woo! That young lady can play ball. 34 points. So this ended up being a 15-point win by the Lynx. Dallas kept it close for a while. They did. But then it got ugly, as I suspected. So, I told you, Ion Network heard saying, a sold-out crowd here at College Park. Except it wasn't sold out.
All right. But there was a bunch of empty seats visible last night during that broadcast. And that Ion broadcaster that he kept that commentator was like for a sold-out College Park. And like, is it because it's not translating, understanding a lot of people have things come up and that can equate to maybe, 50, 100 seats, maybe 800 seats? Man, that's a lot of people that unexpectedly decided to have a baby or something.
I thought tickets were selling out fast for Dallas for Paige Bueckers. According to ESPN, her first home game was nearly 1,000 tickets away from being sold out in an arena that seats Just 7,000. There were people out there believed this game should have been moved to American Airlines Arena, where the Mavericks play. Can you imagine how embarrassing that would have looked on television? Woo-wee. It would have been ugly. It would have.
One thing to note about Caitlin Clark from that recent matchup, the footage shows what happened before that penalty situation. Just prior to the violation call, Angel pushed Aaliyah Boston, and interestingly, last season people were saying Caitlin needed protection. Today, Caitlin became the protector herself. The discussion around Caitlin needing backup shifted as she actually became Aaliyah's defender today. Caitlin supported her teammate in a clear way. She attempted to block Angel from scoring and took an opportunity for a strong defensive move.
Oh, Kathy Engelbert's not going to like me. We don't want any negativity. Well, hold on. Let's not get confused. Truth telling sometimes is not going to be pleasant.
The difference is striking compared to before. Caitlin's actions showed a change. There was a penalty call from officials. This represents an evolution. Previously, Caitlin was on the receiving end of hits, but now she's demonstrating increased toughness. Her improvement shows in defensive plays. Opponents try to push her backward, but find it difficult.
I understand. If you are a fan of any team other than FIFA, I would understand. And again, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Subscribe. We are trying to hit 46,000 subscribers as soon as possible. And if you guys are in the stream right now and you want to stay on for these breakdowns and gameplay watch-alongs, but Sophie Cunningham is hated, and she's hated for good reason. You say what you want, she's hated for good reason. She is an instigator. She is, you could argue, dirty. Marina Mabry's like that. I agree.
Some observations note she pushed with her left hand from behind. The reaction seemed situations. When Sophie got tackled by Kaker Fan while the team trailed by 18 points, they subsequently recovered and secured the victory.
On the court, she's probably going to be better than Taurasi. This is a Caitlin Clark game where she only took 13 shots. And now you've got a team. No one's messing with Natasha Howard. Nobody's messing with Dewana Bonner. Nobody is messing with Sophie Cunningham, or people are probably messing with Sophie Cunningham, but she instigates it. And now, if Caitlin Clark has put a bit of a target on her back from the Chicago Sky, and I hope she has. I hope the Chicago Sky, I hope they be as physical with Caitlin Clark as she was to them. And again, I mean this when I say this.
Today's game showed a 10-point difference following that incident. The violation call was appropriate. Officials performed their duties correctly with the proper decision. The situation concluded with Indiana seemingly affecting Chicago's mindset. Despite comparisons to a mini Taurasi, it's worth noting Diana Taurasi's influence regarding competitive mentality. Sophie Cunningham creates situations that provoke reactions. Every WNBA team's feelings towards Sophie seem understandable from their perspective.
Any hits to the head, any hits shoves from behind, no go. But if someone wants to commit a take foul on Caitlin Clark from the Sky, you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. You never go to hurt somebody, obviously. But
Caitlin appears to be developing characteristics similar to Diana Taurasi's playing style. Her performance required only 13 shot attempts, yet proved effective. The team dynamic now includes respected players like Natasha Harreld and Dana Bonner, whom opponents rarely challenge, while Sophie often finds herself in confrontational situations she initiates. If Caitlin has drawn attention from Chicago, that dynamic might continue. Chicago might approach physicality with her similarly to her approach with them. Head contact or shoving from behind crosses lines, but stopping fouls represent acceptable basketball tactics without intent to injure.
this is a player who got flagrantly fouled, by the way, 4 times by the Chicago Sky. She got flagrantly fouled 4 times. And you know what? You know, last season, the Chicago Sky had Mabry. They had Kennedy Carter. They had Angel. They went out to try punk Caitlin Clark. And again, Kennedy Carter went too far, but they went out to try be physical, rough up Caitlin Clark. And I mean that in a basketball way. Anyone who thinks that anything other than the Kennedy Carter shot wasn't basketball, like,
This player received harsh fouls 4 times from Chicago last season. Chicago's roster included Mabry, Kennedy Carter, and Angel then. Their approach involved physical play against Caitlin. Kennedy's actions exceeded acceptable limits, but their strategy emphasized physicality within basketball norms. Diamond's intent wasn't to cause injury, but rather to assert physical dominance, a distinction recognized by experienced players. Today, Indiana demonstrated physical dominance over Chicago. Chicago's previous season showed different characteristics. Chicago with Teresa Weatherspoon displayed toughness. While this roster shows improved skills and talent on paper, the toughness factor appears diminished. If Indiana evolves into a modified version of Mercury, since Indiana thrives in players who disrupt opponents' rhythm and provide protective presence, creating controlled disorder translates to winning patterns when playing Indiana's distinctive style.
Words are going to be the Diamond DeShields foul was just trying to, well, Diamond DeShields wasn't trying to hurt Caitlin, she was trying to knock her on her ass. There's two different things. If you've played ball, you know what the difference is. You know what the difference is. And you want to know what happened today? The Indiana Fever physically bullied the apparently soft Chicago Sky. The soft Chicago Sky.
It all began with a single striking photo at the Big Ten Women's Basketball Final in Indianapolis last March. A snapshot of Caitlin Clark cheering from the sideline, displaying well-defined arms, circulated widely online. Her muscles generated quite a buzz, noted Amber Cox, who manages operations for the Fever. Team staff also noticed the attention. She was definitely pleased about it, said Sarah Kessler, Indiana's head fitness coach. We chuckled because it received more notice than we anticipated. That viral picture wasn't just for show, it highlighted Clark's dedication during the break. For the first time since mid-2023, she had proper time to ready her physique for WNBA demands. I struggle to remember when I've collaborated with any player in women's basketball or even men's leagues, where we had a consistent 4 to 5 month period to work together, Kessler said. The main goal, increasing power. Clark tackled this challenge with her usual focus. Some athletes discuss ambitions, but when faced with the actual effort needed, that's where you might notice hesitation, Kessler remarked. With Caitlin, once she established those aims, I immediately witnessed her exercising 4 to 5 days weekly. The Indiana Fever aren't simply a squad with promise anymore. With Clark at the helm, they're transforming into something far more formidable as her second campaign begins, a change rooted in the physical growth she achieved during the off-season. This advancement faces its first serious challenge on Saturday. Indiana opened their season at home facing the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese, the first of 5 meetings between these squads this year. Reese, like Clark, follows an outstanding rookie season that helped drive unprecedented viewership and attendance for the WNBA. Their direct matchup ranks among the premier fixtures of opening weekend, offering glimpses into the league's bright future. Rivalry is real, and that's what makes sports thrilling, Clark mentioned. Certain teams make those games count more. We handle every match similarly, but rivalries keep fans interested, and they truly enjoy that. Clark's swift improvement has amazed head coach Stephanie White, who returned to Indiana this offseason after productive years with Connecticut. Caitlin encountered numerous obstacles from day one. New league, new teammates, everyone's bigger, quicker, stronger, White commented. But she's incredibly diligent with excellent game awareness. She wants to get better. Gambling experts seemingly concur. Clark is now ranked as the top contender for most valuable player this season, underscoring how significant her off-season work is expected to be. Clark herself acknowledged that adjusting to WNBA physicality was the greatest hurdle in her rookie year, something opponents exploited. This season, she's determined to alter that narrative. Going into year 2, I have familiarity with this league. I know what to anticipate. I understand how training camp operates. Just having that knowledge of how things function has given me plenty of assurance, she explained. That confidence was evident during the Fever's 81-76 preseason win against the Atlanta Dream, where Clark's newfound strength was immediately apparent. She moved fluidly, her trademark distance shots appearing even more effortless. Her drives to the basket demonstrated power she lacked previously, and her passes showed the benefits of her winter conditioning. It seems she might have even increased her three-point range, one observer commented. Her long-distance shots were remarkable, and the ease with which she took them was impressive. The Fever made significant roster changes during the break, with general manager Kelly Krauskopf and head coach Amber Stocks focusing on veteran guidance. Bonner, Howard, and Sydney Colson were brought in to add expertise and championship knowledge to the squad. I believe what we primarily lacked last year was experience, Clark pointed out, adding seasoned veterans like DB Bonner and Sid Colson and Tosh Howard, and surrounding us with that wisdom, that's what will truly help us. Bonner, who arrived after a successful stint with Connecticut, applauded Clark's direction and playmaking abilities. She's a dynamic performer. She simply elevates everyone around her. Being on this side with her is much more enjoyable than guarding against her. That's for sure, Bonner noted. Her addition, alongside Howard, brings a sense of urgency and insight that the Fever greatly needed. White's comeback to the Fever, having previously guided Indiana to the WNBA Finals in 2015, marks a crucial shift in the team's environment and aspirations. Her approach centers on clarity and straightforward communication, a method that has already resonated with her player. It's still developing, White said regarding the team's cohesion. The most essential thing for me and the squad is communication. We all share identical objectives here, which is to position ourselves to compete for a championship. Clark echoed that sentiment, describing the team atmosphere as generous and focused. Everyone is pleased to be here. We all share the same aim. Building those connections with teammates and being intentional about it is very important, she explained. With Clark's expanding leadership, Bonner and Howard's championship mindset, and White's structured philosophy, the Fever find themselves approaching the WNBA's top tier. We're establishing our character, and the common element in our team is that everyone is unselfish. Everyone wants to succeed, Clark emphasized. For an organization seeking stability and achievement, that perspective might be exactly what converts potential into outcome. With Clark's physical development, the Fever's off-season rebuild, and veteran additions strengthening their lineup, Indiana's path to becoming contenders no longer seems distant. It feels inevitable.